Hell yes, I have been waiting to talk about Alice in Chains on this channel for so long. The song Wood especially. I know everyone goes crazy for Man in the Box, but this song is special to me because it's the first Alice in Chains song I ever heard, and to this day it's still my favorite. I kind of feel like I don't make these intros long enough. Know me broken by my master, teach thee on child of love hereafter. This song uses a ton of allegories and metaphors, but at its core this song is about addiction, and how addiction caused the death of Andrew Wood, the lead singer of Mother Love Bone. If you don't know who that is, after Andrew Wood's death, the members of Mother Love Bone would go on to form Pearl Jam. He also has a lot of songs and even whole albums that were made as tribute to him after his death from his friends Jerry Cantrell of Alice in Chains and even Chris Cornell of Soundgarden. This song being one of those tributes. The line "Know me broken by my master" is referring to Andrew Wood as someone who's been broken by his addiction, the master in this line being heroin. Andrew Wood had been in and out of rehab for years and struggled to stay sober. He was checked into rehab for the last time in 1989, and less than a year later he lost his life to a heroin overdose. Into the flood again, same old trip it was back then. So I made a big mistake, try to see it once my way. Following up the song's use of homophones, gotta make sure to announce that one properly, like changing wood to wood, lead singer Jerry Cantrell changed the original lyric of "into the blood" to "into the flood" because he thought it was too on the nose. Either way, "into the blood" is most definitely a reference to shooting up heroin, calling it the same old trip it was back then. This is an accurate representation of dependence. Addiction can be a hard thing for someone who's never experienced it to understand. The lines "so I made a big mistake, try to see it once my way" illustrates pretty well how someone can recognize that what they're doing is killing them and want very badly to change and be done with their vices, but they just don't think they have it in them to quit. Drifting body and soul desertion, flying not yet quite the notion. This is Jerry's narration of Andrew when he's high. What I find interesting is that it describes the feeling as not quite flying. I think this could be what happens to someone who's been using for a long time, getting a more diluted and less potent high over time, forcing them to use even more. Higher doses, of course, equals higher chance of overdose. Another way to interpret this line is Andrew recognizing that his high is just a temporary feeling, and the reality of his situation is too real to ignore. Am I wrong? Have I run too far to get home? Have I gone and left you here alone? If I would, could you? I think this is narration of Andrew Wood thinking that he's too far gone to ever recover. Either he's dying, or he's lost all hope of recovery and has come to the conclusion that his death is inevitable. The line "have I gone too far to get home" sounds almost childish, and that's exactly the point, comparing the loss and desperation of a struggling addict to that of a kid who's ran away from home and can't find their way back. The line "have I gone and left you here alone" likely is an expression of remorse and guilt for the people whom Andrew Wood was close with and the grief they experience once he's passed away. If I would, could you? This final line I think is the most important. I think it's about wondering what the future could have been like. If Andrew had done things differently, could he have gotten better? Could others have gotten better or ended up just like him? The lack of conclusion to this lyric is kinda what makes it so eerie to hear. Addiction is scary, and part of that is the learned helplessness that many addicts come to experience. The idea that there's no helping them, that just the thought of recovery seems so far away that they can't even begin to try to get better. But it's important to remember that addiction is a disease, and just like any disease, it needs treatment, not punishment. Addicts are not criminals, they're sick. And more than anything, they need help. But of course, change must always start with the individual. You can't help someone who won't help themselves. And I think at its core, that's what this song is really about. If Jerry Cantrell could have helped Andrew, would he have even accepted it?